fought your way through Newton? I would have suggested the stealthy approach, but I'm also deathly allergic to homicidal cultists.
How much longer do you predict preparations will take?
Almost ready. Perfect timing for my former colleague to peer review my work. I'll press them to verify my settings. Thereupon, we will begin.
Splendid. While others pontificate, we act. I look word of our success with bated breath.
Head Intercessor Delgado, what an opportune time for you to appear. At the perfect moment to assist our experiment.
What in the endless void are you?
Shh. Comms off, but others are near. I need your aid before this ridiculous affair careens into disaster. Can I rely on you this time? Or will you already intend on scurrying away again? I came to derail this line of inquiry in such a discommodious way that no one would ever consider trying it again. For all the aforementioned reasons of it likely causing, or at least queuing up and leading to, the end of all things. You chose to leave me behind, again. So when they came calling, I thought it an opportunity to sort it all myself. Yet, admittedly, at this moment, I could use your assistance.
This shouldn't be your burden. It's on me.
You don't get to decide that, or adjudicate, or coolly comment in a steely growl. Not falling for that a 10th time. Help, or stay out of my way. You don't remember us discussing this before Winter's Grasp? Too many competing crises, I guess. All right. Years ago, I was kicked out of the Order for research deemed dangerous. A means of sidestepping much of what's presumed required to solve the universal equation, using a series of reasoned shortcuts and educated postulations.
The idea was, theoretically, it would hurry the process along, so the equation could be solved in our lifetime. It was completely unorthodox.
Since then, I calculated what might occur if my work was completed, and there's a big chance of subsequent events leading to a universal end. So the stakes are everything.
When we destroyed the original copies of her research at Winter's Grasp, I discovered someone else was continuing her work, which led us here.
The test involves 4 stations. Each represents one of the fundamental building blocks of the universe. Zeranium gas, macro-HEVs, nucleons, N-rays. All the usual stuff. That test chamber is where all are meant to mix. To simulate a mini-universe I can apply my theories to, pull data from, and deduce the universal equation in a reduced time frame. We know what happens if that's successful, so I need you to muck with each station's settings, then initiate the experiment. All you need to do is adjust each station's settings slightly. Things will cascade from there. Remember, subtlety is required.
Yes, if we alter the experiment input data in a less than delicate fashion, Brun will notice, I assure you.
The guards on the 2nd floor won't appreciate visitors, so avoid getting spotted. Here's a maintenance key. Head down the vent. It's only the fate of the galaxy riding on it, so perhaps try to be careful.
Something wrong back there? Hello?
May all solutions precede problems.
Hostile in proximity.
Consummation, it's Fibonacci from lover of Arcadia. Path to ascendancy is non-linear, so it says.
That is the sound of science going exceptionally well.
If you're done, evaluating my work and all settings are final, enter the terminal command to void the oxygen from the test chamber. The experiment will then begin. Commendable effort scrambling those settings.
Did it work? Did it work? See, Bouchard, was it a success? What happened?
Hold the applause just yet. I need to run the numbers. I'm sending the others back up to you. They can describe the proceedings in detail.
I shall await their arrival. Anchor's Brun out. That is how these messages end, yes? If not, farewell.
The results of the experiment will be a career-ending embarrassment for Anchoress Brun. But she won't accept this lightly. We'll need to do more.
Yes, our next steps here will be crucial. I know this type of mission well. Granted, my targets were always meticulously well-researched beforehand.
You'll need to convince her, destroy her logic, end this research for good. All it requires is a forceful array of incisive argumentation, logical reasoning, coercive persuasion, and cognitive contortioning.
You mean one of our old brain-off maneuvers? Really? That's what the rank and file in our old department used to call it. Provost Bolding considered it a casual moniker unbefitting of an order scientician.
Make Brun give up on science, logic, and reason entirely. Then no one will ever dare continue the research again. Between you and Marisol, it should be a light challenge. Easy.
A brain-off against an order anchorite isn't entirely without risk. We could employ certain other methods to deal with her. From our former department's playbook.
Oh, yes, a book you wrote titled Making an Execution Look Like an Accident. Despite the moral quandary ideally involved, unseen consequences still abound.
That's hyperbolic at best. Data suggests significantly fewer unpredicted outcomes than outright murder, if properly executed. And I'm quite capable of skewing results in our favor.
And here I thought you'd begun to change. Success isn't guaranteed. A fair degree of cleverness is required. But you would have the help of someone reasonably intellectually nimble.
I would be willing and on hand to assist, and the other option would remain if we botch it.
Marisol knows what she's doing. I vote for murder. I just love watching her work.
Seems reasonable. Appreciate you listening. Murder shouldn't be our first option here. Too many drawbacks, both mathematically and ethically.
Honestly, I'm relieved as well. I have been trying to be different. From the person others believe me to be.
From the legend? If you're retiring as the endpoint, we'll need to find you a colorful new sobriquet. Typical argumentation may prove useless, and she'll likely see through most attempts at deception. Be clever, unpredictable, surprise her. But in the event you should fail, you'll need a viable backup plan, or it will erase any chance of success completely. The Anchoress is housed in a test chamber similar to this one. It's been refurbished with some rather tacky furniture, but much of the old experimental apparatus remains. There is a hatch near the elevator upstairs. An external ledge leads to a vent system that can connect the two chambers. Doing so will expose the Anchoress to a lethal atmosphere. I'll need to make an announcement afterward that an accident has occurred tied into the experiment.
For an extemporaneous plan, it's not a bad one. What if the Anchoress realizes what we're doing and calls for help?
I'll cut off her comms when she begins pleading. Oh, that sounds even more heartless when I say it out loud. Please choose wisely. Here's the hatch key in case you need it. May all your endeavors elicit expected results. And Marisol, do keep out of trouble.
There you are. You saw the experiment through to the end, yes? The data hasn't arrived yet, so please do tell. Was it as beautiful as I imagined? Any inklings to the result? Or perhaps I oughtn't to have recloistered myself till after the experiment concluded, hmm? Well, don't just stand there. Tell me everything. Some issues. You seem like softening the blow. Was there a malfunction? Was there some error in the calculations? Wait. Let's start from the beginning. Step me through your understanding of what's gone awry. Really? In what way? Solving the universal equation demands considerable thoroughness, but also requires all possible efficiency. Though, that said, it's true that we must guard against skimping unduly, to any extent that might introduce error. This was just a start. Such models typically make an enormous amount of errors at first. All quite expected, an anticipated setback, nothing more. It simply needs to be revised and refined. You certainly seem to be making a lot out of this, though, one must say. I miss her skepticalness and insight. If we could agree on a topic, there could be little doubt in its logic and rectitude. Look, there may be some validity to some of your points, yes. But we'll improve. We will continue to stride forward. There's absolutely no need for all this doom and gloom. Oh, is one of you a seer now? Because I put considerable more stock in the prognostications of the Order's prime mathematicians than I do any old run-of-the-mill soothsayer. Now, is that all? Because I think I've had enough of all this. Everything we've done here is built off Seer Bujold's research, which is quite brilliant. That's both incorrect and rather mean. Ah, the experiment data just arrived in my terminal. Allow me to eyeball it a moment. Perhaps there's something here to help prove or disprove any of what you've been saying. There was some variance to the input data. Not far beyond acceptable parameters, but curious. Could explain the failure. Oh, come. One bad test wouldn't mean the science is completely flawed. This has been a difficult conversation. Challenging, disputatious, at times compelling. Yet I remain unswayed.
If I may, I have a point I'd like to add. There's a critical flaw in Seer Bujold's approach I think best illustrated by this English phrase. Time flies like an arrow. Fruit flies like a banana. I much appreciate this jest. Very simple, yet clever. Because in English, the word like can mean similar to or I prefer. And flies can be to soar, or plural of the insect. Through this perspective, it functions, makes sense, is humorous even. But in another language where words' meanings differ slightly, it does not. The framework we interpret the statement from changes, thus rendering it uninterpretable. False. Bujold's method of shortcutting the universal equation is much the same.
It lacks context. When you extrapolate the data from the mini-universe to the larger one, the information itself may scale correctly, but fail to interrelate. That is an interesting thought puzzle. As humorous as it is inapplicable. I remain unswayed.
We tried. Our fallback plan's our only option now. Head for the hatch.
What was that? You're starting to worry me. What do you intend to do?
I understand now why they say never meet your heroes, Intercessor Delgado. You've truly been an enormous disappointment. A key experiment fails and Ancrus Brunn falls prey to an unfortunate accident right after you and your consort arrive. And we are all to believe these events are unrelated?
That's circumstantial and more than a mite bit paranoid. I expect better from an Order scientician. Even one from the Department of Applied Scientism.
Don't think I don't see your handprints all over this, Delgado. I don't care that you somehow roped in Bujold with that little performance. I'm not buying it. The Anchoress, poor trusting soul that she was, may have believed you were here in good faith, but I don't. You're looking more and more like enemies to me. Fascinating. You know, I reviewed that work myself, right? I'm well versed in manipulative prevarication from feckless mutineers. Try again. Or try facing a gauntlet of well-trained exemplars. I could always choose for you. Are you done? I know you're to blame. I just wanted to see how far you were gonna take this. I can't believe Ancrus Brunn fell for any of it. Fellow exemplars of the Order, commence hostilities!
Combatant stand. Fortificator is charged. Adversary vulnerabilities identified. scope for combatant analysis. Torpificator at ready status.
Either restore my life or I'm dead.
Vitals are in the red, Commander. I have a fix on their weaknesses.
I'm alive.
Closing on a procedure.
Not possible. No target to gun. Either restore my life or avenge my death. Impossible.
I'm incapacitated.
Can't wake a shit right now.
I'm alive. Who needs to die? Wrist on what target? Sorry, I've no target.
All the risk. Don't die. Swine. This might sting. All the risk.
Thank you, dear.
We'll find time for a private word after the mission.
Yeah.
It's only the fate of the galaxy riding on it, so perhaps try to be careful. It's only the fate of the galaxy riding on it, so perhaps try to be careful.
Commander, it's customary to evaluate results after a mission of reasonable significance. Would now be good? I've had some time to cogitate over what occurred at Point Obviation. Some parts don't sit right with me still. Wonder if you and I might talk it through. A bit, yes. With the work I used to do, I'm no stranger to guilt and regret. Midway into my requisite sleep cycle is when it usually plagues me the most. We could have done better by Anchoress Brun. If we'd properly convinced her to abandon the research, I'd doubtlessly still lament duping her, but she'd be alive. And yet, such actions were par for the course for me in the past. When my remorse for Brun rears its head, it will need to get in line. Yes, Southworth was complicit. And now she's dead. I hope so, at least. According to Anais, we could have reduced the likelihood of that occurring by completing the brain-off. It's not anywhere near zero, but it's unlikely. She seemed pleased that we at least attempted to address her concerns, so I've changed, apparently. Thanks to you. Oh, Brunn obviously murdered her. Thought you knew that. Perhaps it was an accident. Perhaps she simply wanted to knock Chow unconscious so she could sneak away. Or not. Indefinite immurement isn't for everyone. Even the finest minds may crack under the strain. But her canned, feigned concern about Chow, how she kept changing the subject, both belied an underlying sense of guilt to me. Appreciate you taking the time to talk it over, Commander.
I recall this place. These stations have been automated since my day, though this one has certainly accrued dust. Odd that it would be in a state of lockdown. I have a general override that should allow us entry, but anything specific to local systems, including security systems, may be beyond me. What in places? These security measures should not be operational. And the station seems to be on reserve power. We'd best tread carefully. one is here, lying in ambush. Perhaps some stray systemic error activated the entryway defenses. We best first report to security ops. Lift this lockdown. From there, we can set about reactivating the station's primary power, which will allow us to explore unhindered. Is that a footprint in the dust?
Yeah.
This station shouldn't have received visitors in years. Be on guard. Someone else may be here. My passcode shall not work on this terminal. Unlocking it may be a creative endeavor. Good effort lifting the lockdown. We may now reactivate the station in the reactor room. The reactor activation circuits shall likely be dysfunctional. It's a known issue with these old stations. Let me look. Corroded transistors, dust in the actuator. Did a sprat gnaw on this? Sweet sovereign, what a mess. There. I think I have it. Let us hope my override does not trigger any security alerts. This should avail us of a much simpler search. Let us return to the central room once more and see if anything seems out of place. I shall not stay your execution! Be wary for anything that may be a clue to this new location.
I cannot say I have had to search for a hidden switch in a Protectorate holding before. Keep watch. It could be rather small and well hidden.
Ah, I think I've spotted it. Look there at the valve beside the sickly yellow pipe. There behind the room's main pillar. There. I'm certain of movement below. Gird yourself with determination, for it seems I was correct about another body being here.
Passcode is limber. No. Let's try amulet. No. Wingtip. No. Sovereign's gavel. I should remember this. Damn it. Ambergris can't be it. That's too short for a facility like this. Wait. Oh, no.
Of the strategies of feigning innocence I have seen, this is certainly the most pathetic. I accuse you of trespassing upon the private domain of the Sovereign. For these crimes... Wait, I know you. Luther Okada? What in blazes are you doing here? And why do you wear a Sub Rosa uniform?
Because I work for Sub Rosa? More than that, I don't think I can say, Cadet Rao. Mostly because I'm not supposed to, but also because I can't remember.
I knew this man when I was still a cadet. Okada is, or was, a petty troublemaker, though a crafty one. As cadets, Virgil and I apprehended him often. Sometimes Virgil let him go, but he usually went to mental refreshment.
Often enough to know the technicians by name. Until I forgot them again.
This truly is no ploy. But mental refreshment is supposed to return wayward subjects to the proper path, not cause... whatever this is. Despite his faults, the Okada I knew was ultimately benign. But the fact remains that he now trespasses in a secure facility. Duty dictates that I must execute him. That's a wise path. One that shall give me time to contemplate what must be done.
An Arbiter used the word execute in the last few seconds, yet I remain alive? Didn't think that was possible. He and the other one must have put me away close to 12 times each. I used to be something of a ne'er-do-well.
Ne'er-do-well is a polite term. He was a repeat malefactor. I believe last time we met, he'd vandalized a janitorial automech in an attempt to make it spew profanity.
I got 18 months of hard labor for that. Served me right.
As much as I'd prefer not to admit it, you may be right. Whoever hired him must not have known about his addled mind. They were moving quickly, desperately.
I didn't used to be like this. I can still sneak with the best of them. Not being able to remember doesn't make me any worse as an agent. It doesn't!
Any of my fellow arbiters would have killed you before this conversation began. But I can't decide whether to disdain or pity you.
I was sent here to do a specific job, but some of the details are hazy. Gives me conniptions. I was hired by an anonymous third party. They provided me with the station's location and credentials to bypass its defenses. May have tripped a few on my way here. Can't recall. I was told the station was abandoned, which it clearly isn't, and to break into this terminal and delete the information on it. That is all I know. I don't even know the name of this station.
Ignorance does not excuse criminal action. Even if you did not know the severity of this infiltration, it remains a deadly serious infraction. I don't know that I can. He is a trespasser. His slipping mind matters not. My duty dictates it. Killing Okada may not affect the one who hired him, but his trespass is an indelible fact. He should not be here. That doesn't mean anything. An Arbiter cannot trespass. And even if I could, I still act with the Protectorate's best interests in mind. Not out of some base self-interest. Were the situation different, perhaps I could look the other way. But Okada has clearly defected, and is thus not afforded such a luxury. I am familiar with the concept, but in the Protectorate, intent matters little. Manslaughter still results in death. Sedition can happen unconsciously, just as it may consciously. There is a difference. A murderer's family is imprisoned, whereas they are not in the case of incidental death. But I do suppose the perpetrator's punishment does not change. Though this is hardly the place for a discussion about Protectorate law, I do at least see your point. It is fortunate you have gained my trust, for I would not bend to one who had not. Justice must serve a purpose. Okada may live, and I hope we shan't regret it. Be gone. You've been granted your final stay of execution. Should our paths ever cross again, you know what will occur.
I didn't think this would happen. Thank you, Cadet Rao. My apologies for all the strife I caused over the years. And you. Without you, I would have been reduced to my composite parts. Here, take these. I suppose you'll have more use for them than I, in my present state.
Allowing the Sub-Rosa agent to leave with his life in the heart of a Protectorate station. We may have to speak on this further. But let us see what we came here for first. The hint pertaining to the passcode on that terminal, I believe I know the answer. It is contained in a phrase the Supreme Arbiter drilled into our heads for many years. Our work at the refugee camp did not slake your investigative hunger? I doubt you'll be able to surmise it exactly, but come even close, and I shall be impressed. For myself, the Supreme Arbiter, and Virgil especially, if judgment is the Arbiter's gavel, what is the Arbiter's scalpel? Not quite, I'm afraid. An Arbiter's gavel is judgment, and an Arbiter's scalpel is analysis. Try entering that. From that terminal, it sounds as if the Supreme Arbiter had some sort of business with the Consul. To what end, I wonder? The tone of her response seemed relaxed, but I do not believe she would have met with the Consul unless she had no other choice. And that feckless agent. I don't understand his aim or who he would be working for. Only the Consul. But the Protectorate does not ally itself with Sub-Rosa. It absolutely does not. I think you just have alternative luck. Well, at least we found what we needed on the Supreme Arbiter's terminal. I only hope whatever awaits us at Central Control is less tumultuous. As for Okada, I'm not sure what to think. My decision to allow him to go free was at odds with all I have been taught. He was a traitor and should have died. Yet, I cannot help but feel strangely justified. But he was acting against the Protectorate, even if he didn't know it. How can I act as an arbiter of justice if I allow a traitor a reprieve? Objectively to whom? Damn it! Forget this. Forget it all. I can't allow any specter of doubt to creep into my decisions. Let us list this incident as a fluke and move on. Altogether, I think visiting this station was fruitful for my ultimate task. Hopefully, we'll grow ever closer to discovering the Supreme Arbiter's true killer. And, circumstances aside, I appreciate your accompanying me here, Commander. It means much. Now let us return to the incognito and plan out our next steps.
I like the Order. They think big, even when they make mistakes, accidentally build a super weapon, and seal it away in the Earl. Find it yourself. I'm not playing this game for you.